Lorenzo King at the wall! Look out below! Oh my goodness!
Sports are about seconds and inches and the blinks of an eye. That is what separates champions from everyone else. That is what writes history and rewrites it in our very lifetime. A second more, an inch less.
So close!
There was a time when everything stood still.
The game tonight has been postponed.
Through the cracks came light. And then everything became clear. 2020. Someday it will be just the blink of an eye. How humbling to think that what at the time felt like an eternity was only a single tick of the clock in the distance we've traveled together. We are separated by nearly nothing. We are in pursuit of the same goal.
Great play!
The sleep lost and the memories made are for keeps.
This city has gone absolutely wild.
That is yours forever. Because the beating of your heart, the adrenaline in your veins,
No, what a hit!
the fight in your eye is why we made it. Back to the field, to the court, and the ice. To write history. We're back. Because time never stops. And neither do we.
All the sweet sights and sounds of Major League Baseball are upon us after 10-plus long months without it. It's the Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago Cubs. It is opening night in Major League Baseball, and the Brewers are at Wrigley Field, Chicago. A former MVP, Christian Yelich, back-to-back batting titles in the National League. He is in the lineup, ready to roll, hitting in his customary second spot. The Cubs have a new leadoff hitter, Chris Bryant, another former MVP. Back in 2016, he and Anthony Rizzo, still the big names on the north side, and a rising star on the mound, making his first career opening day start, a homegrown product. Brandon Woodruff gets the ball for the Brewers in the lid lifter. Baseball is back, and it is presented by Taco Bell. We are stationed here at Miller Park in our normal spot in the home TV booth. The radio guys are next door. There's an empty crowd. It's a beautiful vision, but we're glad to bring you Major League Baseball tonight. Happy opening day. I'm Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. We'll hear from Sophia Minnaert in just a moment as well. And Rock, these never get old. We've never experienced anything like this before for an opening day, but my 14th year with you, your 26th year in this booth, and I couldn't think of a better place than this right here, sitting next to you, partner.
Yeah, it's about time. 26 years, that's pretty good. But I'm thinking of the guy next to us. 50 years in the booth. Unbelievable. He has given us so much, and what do we give him? We give him a cookie, and it's so nice I don't even think I want to eat it. But it's about time, man. I mean, we have waited a long time. We have all been through an awful lot in this country, and baseball is back. The guys are excited. We saw some pretty good baseball here in the Blue Gold Series, and I tell you, the fans might not be here in the ballpark, but I know they're out there. We know you're out there because my phone has been blowing up for like 3 or 4 days. Everybody excited about Brewers baseball. We are back. We're at Miller Park. They're at Wrigley Field. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun tonight, and we know you're there. We know you're rooting on your favorite team, and let us hear from you on Twitter, on social. We'd love for you to reach out to us tonight, and we'll hear those virtual cheers all night long. New logo, 50th anniversary, opening day coming up next. Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Cousin Subs. We believe in better. By Taco Bell. Baseball is back. And by Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota. Let's go places. It's been 4.5 months since sports came to a sudden stop. A global pandemic left venues empty nationwide. Then the tragic killing of George Floyd put our country in crisis and led a cry for equality and needed change. The country responded, rallying around its first responders and those working on the front lines by uniting as communities and pushing for social justice. During this period of uncertainty, one thing has remained evident: our love of sports and the need to have them as a distraction. Throughout its history, our national pastime has done that. During both world wars, some of baseball's biggest stars fought for the Stars and Stripes. After 9/11, the game helped heal a country in mourning.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now observe a minute of silence in memory of those who lost their lives in last week's attacks.
Today, we take a small step towards healing again with the return of America's pastime and a Brewers team with their sights set on a postseason appearance for the 3rd consecutive year.
My home sweet home.
Wrigley Field, Chicago is the site. It is opening day 2020. We thought we'd never make it here, but here we are. And the Brewers and Cubs ready to go at it. Starts the 60-game schedule. It's a beautiful 78 degrees on the north side of Chicago. Brian Anderson, Bill Schroeder, and Sophia Minard. Tonight's game being produced by Brent Reeland, directed by the great Renardo Lowe. And we are delighted to have you with us. How about the longest tenured manager in the National League right now, Craig Counsell, as he begins his 6th season as the Brewers skipper. And the Brewers trying to make it to the postseason in 3 consecutive years. And that path to the postseason just got a little bit easier after the news yesterday. Opening day lineup looks like this. Eric Sogard will lead off at third base. Then Christian Yelich, followed by Keston Hiura. Hiura's first opening day roster. In the middle, it's Justin Smoke, Ryan Braun, and Avisail Garcia. Omar Narvaez, Lorenzo Cain, and Orlando Arcia round out the starting 9 for the Brew Crew as they get their 2020 season started. And Rock, it'll be a matchup against the Cubs opening day starter Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah, 11-10 last year. Good earned run average though, 346 and 30 starts. Much better last year at home. He had a 204 home earned run average. On the road, 4.05, making his first start at Wrigley Field against the Brewers since September of 2018. So it's been a while. Let's check out the Cubs defensively. You got Schwarber, Happ, and Hayward in the outfield. Chris Bryant, Javier Baez, Nico Horner, Anthony Rizzo from third to first, and Wilson Contreras, the fine Cubs catcher behind home plate.
All right, the Cubs have hit the field behind their opening day starter Kyle Hendricks. We are just about set for baseball here tonight. The home plate umpire is Jeff Nelson. He's also the crew chief, C.B. Buckner, John Tumpain, and Jose Navas round out the 4-man umpiring crew. All the pieces in place, and Hendricks' first pitch of the season. And that one's in there for a strike, and away we go. Eric Sogard gets the leadoff duties to start the year, not Lorenzo Cain. Cain will be batting 8th in the opening day lineup. And Sogard in the air to left field. Cruising under that one is Kyle Schwarber, and that's how the night begins, and that's how the 2020 season begins.
Yeah, going to be interesting to watch Kyle Hendricks here. He's making his 22nd start against the Brewers in his career. 8-6, 308 earned run average. Good numbers for Hendricks as far as earned run average. Brewers have been able to get to him from time to time.
At the 5-time Gold Glove Award winner, Jason Hayward in right. Christian Yelich now finished second in the MVP voting last year to Cody Bellinger, won the MVP in 2018 and has won back-to-back National League batting titles. No Brewer had ever won a batting title until Yelich, and he has gotten them in back-to-back years. And this is the first official game for Yelich since he fractured his kneecap in Miami in early September last season. He's been a regular in the lineup through the spring and into the summer camp. He feels good. He wasn't swinging the bat all that well up until Wednesday as he taps one out to Hendricks. And there's out number 2. I like what Christian had to say, though. He said, I wasn't struggling at all. I was paying respects to Bob Uecker for his 50th year. I was trying to hit like him.
Yeah, and he hit one out in Chicago against the White Sox, so he was able to give Uecker a little bit of practice on his home run call. That's that's very nice of Christian. Always willing to help.
Well, the Brewers are expected to be a heavy-hitting lineup this year, and they've got a new number 3 hitter in Keston Hiura. Hiura makes his first opening day roster. Burst onto the scene last year, hit 19 big league homers to go along with his 19 AAA homers.
And Keston had a good day on Wednesday. 3 hits, a home run, opposite field homer. In the number 3 spot in this Brewers lineup. That's quite a compliment given by Craig Counsell.
In the primary protection role for Christian Yelich. 2 up, 2 down for Hendricks. And a big curveball gets him. That's a good start for Kyle Hendricks. The Cubs ace retires of 1, 2, 3, and now the Brewers ace, an all-star last year. The big woo, Brandon Woodruff on the mound when we come back. In the books underway in the 2020 season, the Brewers go in order. Hendricks with a strikeout of Keston Hiura to end the inning, and now David Ross making his managerial debut. The former Chicago Cub, world champion with the Cub in 2016. And 2 of those 15 years as a Cub. He picked the right one, didn't he? Cubs starting lineup. Chris Bryant will lead off. Just the 8th time in his career hitting leadoff, followed by Rizzo, then Baez. In the middle goes Schwarber, Contreras, and Hayward. Caratini, Horner, and Happ round out the starting 9 for the David Ross-led Chicago Cubs. And Rock, it is Brandon Woodruff getting his first opening day start.
Yeah, can't imagine he could have done any better at summer camp. I mean, amazing stuff. 9 1/3 in summer camp, 1 earned run, 11 punch outs, only 2 walks, coming off an all-star season last year, 11-3.
And his first fastball at 97 miles an hour.
You think these guys are fired up?
I think the lack of crowd, we were concerned about the adrenaline factor, but it's Cubs and Brewers. It is a great rivalry, and even Kyle Hendricks was throwing a little harder than he normally does.
89, we've never seen that. We're talking 86, 87 with him. I think it's a little bit easier for pitchers to get fired up, when you don't have a whole lot of excitement around you as opposed to hitters.
Brandon Woodruff, a homegrown product, the pride of the organization, not only to make it to the big leagues, become an all-star last year for the first time, and now get an opening day start as he misses with a fastball. Bryant back in that leadoff spot. That's one of the moves for David Ross. He likes him in the leadoff position. His other 7 starts batting leadoff came back in the 2018 season. Didn't do it at all last year.
Well, you'd like to have your best on-base percentage hitter in the top of your order, and Chris Bryant was one of the best last year. Almost 380, a little over 380, the on-base percentage, outstanding for Bryant. Table setter.
Bryant, Rizzo, and Baez will start it against Brandon Woodruff. Here's a 2-2 offering. Bryant sends one foul down the right field line. Woodruff has pitched in big games, and it's one of the reasons Craig Counsell feels most comfortable with him in a spot like this. He's performed well in the postseason. Started the wild card game last year for the Brewers. He's already amassed a pretty good resume in the postseason. A 1.65 earned run average in 5 postseason appearances. 2 of those starts. He's proven he can have very good command, very good poise in the big games.
Young, but knows what he's doing. He's able to control himself and doesn't get too wrapped up when he's in trouble. Sign him an ace.
Former 11th round draft pick back in the 2014 draft out of Mississippi State. Another 2-2 on the way, and Bryant is fighting him off.
99. He's got a terrific fastball. He uses it a lot. Likes to elevate that fastball. That looked like it had a little bit of a two-seam hump to it, but 99 miles an hour.
That kind of movement with that kind of velocity, and you can see why Brandon Woodruff has emerged as one of the elite pitchers in the game.
I tell you got Woody throwing 99. I mean, that's one thing, but you got Kyle Hendricks throwing 89, maybe a hot gun perhaps.
Well, how about Woodruff already with 8 pitches? Hendricks threw 8 pitches the entire first inning. 6 of those were strikes and an easy 1-2-3 frame. 3-2 on the way, and Bryant fouls another one off. You can hear in the background, by the way, the Cubs players yelling and trying to create some energy. This is not something that baseball players typically have to do, but I think under these circumstances, Craig Counsell has talked to the Brewers about that as well.
Hey, you stop doing that on the bench in Little League. That's about as far as you go with that.
The 10th pitch of the at-bat to start the season. Woodruff deals to Bryant, and that one's in the air, right center. That's going to be Lorenzo Cain to make the play, and after a long battle, Woodruff finally retires Bryant.
Hey, let's check out our Pizza Ranch for the win, BA. Our first regular season Pizza Ranch. We're going to talk fastballs. Woody, I mean, he sits at around 95, 96, but he's throwing 99 today. Hendricks is going pretty good. So you got about a 10-mile-an-hour difference between fastballs. Both of them very effective. And the last 7 opening day starters for the Brewers have been different. This year, Brandon Woodruff. Remember, last year it was Yoeli Chacin. So 7 for 7 different opening day starters for the Brewers.
As far as homegrown talent to make a start on opening day, you think back to guys like Yelvani Gallardo, who was the last to do it. Ben Sheets prior to that. Here's Anthony Rizzo now with 1 away. Rizzo with 27 homers last year, had a very high OPS at .924 a season ago. He's been dealing with a sore back through this summer camp, but he did hit a home run in their exhibition game against the Twins on Wednesday, and he and Chris Bryant dealing with back problems.
Yeah, it looked like Rizzo lost a lot of weight in the offseason. Looks much slimmer. Not that he was too much overweight, but he looks really slim today.
Always gives you a tough at bat, especially after a 10-pitch battle with Chris Bryant. Then you roll in Rizzo in there. Is Woodruff ready for a 2-0, and he falls behind him. 3 balls, no strikes. Brewers and Cubs will play a 3-game series to get the season started, and then the Brewers are on their way to Pittsburgh. Cubs have had the benefit of 3 exhibition games against other teams. They had the White Sox twice, then the Twins on Wednesday as Rizzo draws the walk. 4-pitch walk after the 10-pitch at bat to Bryant, and the Cubs have the first runner of the game.
Yeah, walks really weren't a problem for Brandon Woodruff a year ago. Yeah, just missing off the corners. Most of his fastballs, the effective fastballs that we see from Woodruff, are up in the strike zone. High fastballs. He gets a lot of action on that. Not a lot of slugging percentage, for National League hitters against that pitch.
That'll bring up Javi Baez. Baez, one of the game's premier players. This top 3 in the Cubs order about as good as it gets in Bryant, Rizzo, and Baez. Cubs are going to hit, no question about that, partner. Their pitching staff, especially their starting rotation, has some question marks, though, and they are going to be without Jose Quintana to start the year.
Cut his thumb on his pitching hand.
Could be a while. We're talking maybe 2nd week, 3rd week of August before he returns.
Right. Rotation pretty good for the Cubs, but not a whole lot of depth.
No balls and a strike. Baez on the ground, got a man there. Could be 2. Flip it. Arcia to first. In time for the double play. Baez not running it out and made it look easy, did the Brewers. I don't know if Baez is injured or not. That one bit him right in on his hands. A double play makes it a scoreless inning for Woodruff.
And then, hey, baseball is back. The MLB app is the only place to get all your baseball action. In-game video highlights, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboards, standings, game day live, pitch by pitch, and much more. Download the MLB app today, the official app of the Major League Baseball players.
All right, Justin Smoak is leading off this second inning for the Brew Crew. Kyle Hendricks pouring in the strikes early going. 9 pitches, 7 strikes thus far. Smoak, a newcomer to the Brewers after some good years with the Blue Jays, including an all-star season a few years back. Did you hear the terrific organist there at Wrigley Field playing "Smoke on the Water" for Justin Smoak as he comes to the plate?
Yeah, he's good, but he's no Dean Roscoe.
That's right. We'll be glad to get Dean Roscoe back in the saddle when the Brewers do return to Miller Park. Hendricks deals to Smoak. He pulled the string on him, and down he goes. Smoak, a strikeout. Back-to-back Ks for Justin Smoak and against Kyle Hendrick. And here comes Ryan Braun. Well, Braun, it was iffy whether he was going to be able to make it into the starting lineup today. Powerball home run board. Braun with 22 homers last year, playing sporadically last season. His next home run here at Wrigley Field against the Cubs will be his 40th career homer against the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter how he's swinging the bat coming into Wrigley Field, but once he sees Wrigley, he starts swinging the bat. Amazing numbers against the Cubs at Wrigley.
Making history today is Ryan Braun. He becomes the first ever designated hitter at Wrigley Field. Chased one that time. Quickly 0-2. You wonder if the DH will be here to stay after this season.
I got to believe. If I were a betting man, which I'm not.
No balls, 2 strikes. Now, Braun only had 5 at-bats prior to his 4 at-bats in the exhibition game on Wednesday against the Chicago White Sox. He had missed over a week, about 9 days to be exact, and he was battling a number of injuries, an oblique injury, trouble with the hand, the back, neck. Well, was able to answer the bell on Wednesday, and here he is in the opening day lineup, and he shoots that one to right field, but right at Jason Hayward for out number 2.
Yeah, Braun's never been a guy that gets a lot of at-bats in spring training, at least over the last 5 years, but he hasn't had hardly any, coming into this season.
Some fans able to watch baseball at Wrigley Field, Chicago, at least up on the rooftops. Hendricks, 5 in a row, retired with 2 Ks. And he'll face Avi Garcia, another newcomer for the Brewers this year. Signed a 2-year deal with a team option for a 3rd year. And the Brewers are hoping for big things from Garcia, a big man who can really run. And he opens the season as the right fielder. Can play center, could certainly play left field. 20 homer year last year with the Rays, and I think the Brewers are, at least on a per at-bat pace, feel like he's going to do better than that.
Yeah, I think the power might be coming. And 20 home runs, not too bad, but I think Miller Park, limited at-bats this year, but going into next year, you figure he's a 25-30 guy. Good all-around player. He does everything right.
1 ball, 1 strike on Avisail Garcia. 1-2 now. Garcia, former White Sox, had 5.5 years with Chicago, was in that Chicago rivalry game every year, that series between the White Sox and the Cubs. Familiar with Wrigley Field, even though he's been in the American League his entire career until this season.
Hendricks throwing a lot more breaking balls early on here. He's normally a fastball changeup. His changeup's always been very good. There's a curveball, just misses the outside corner.
30 years of age, made 30 starts last year. Gets the opening day nod this year, and a changeup got him.
Yep.
Garcia strikes out. Third K for Hendricks. 6 up, 6 down. Cubs are coming to bat. Schwarber leads off. Woodruff back on the mound.
When I spoke with Woodruff here at Wrigley, his message to the fans is that this time without baseball has been killing us as players just as much as it has been killing them. He said we are going to miss our fans dearly. They are what make the Brewers great. So he said starting tonight, we hope to go out and win a lot of games and make them proud.
Well, Sophia, Brandon Woodruff not taking this opening day start lightly as far as the historical aspect of that. Knows it's an honor, and felt like he was the guy to take the ball if he could stay healthy and get through the quarantine and the shutdown period. And he's done just that as he faces Kyle Schwarber now. First pitch at 97 in there for a strike.
Yeah, kind of anticlimactic, right? Didn't you figure that Woodruff would get the nod on opening day? He certainly deserved it after last year.
Got the start in the wild card game, and then he figured he was in line for it. Woodruff last year with 22 starts. He had an oblique injury about a year ago to the day. Of those 22 starts, he won 11 of them at a 3.62 ERA as he misses with a changeup. Yeah, that's right. A changeup at 88 miles an hour. It's a good one.
That's about what Kyle Hendricks will throw his fastball. He's got a good 4-pitch mix.
Schwarber gets a start in left field tonight. You'll see him in the DH role often as well as he rolls over another changeup. 2-2 the count.
Changeup is the best pitch when you have guys sitting on fastballs. Everybody knows you're going to get a lot of fastballs with Woodruff. So you break out that changeup, you're going to have a lot of success.
Craig Counsell behind that mask. The Brewers skipper. 2-2 the count. Just got a piece.
Another one.
Well, Schwarber's never had trouble with a fastball, that's for sure. He can get to a fastball as good as anybody in the big leagues. Woodruff's got him out in front with that changeup. Woodruff has the complete arsenal on the mound. See what he has in mind here. 2-2 and a fastball. Little chopper up the middle here. Or Sogard rather backhands it. Schwarber beats it out.
Wow.
Brewers had the shift on that time, and Schwarber, the trimmed down version, legs it out for an infield hit.
Schwarber doing a good job putting the ball in play. There's that 2-seam fastball off the heels of 3 consecutive changeups. And you figured that was going to be a tough play. Sogard not blessed with the greatest arm. Just a little bit late at first base.
Sogard, the third baseman, over on the shift and unable to make that play. Nice pick by Smoke. By the way, Smoke is an excellent defensive first baseman. Something to watch this year. Cubs have a lead man on. Here is Wilson Contreras. Contreras is another guy that'll get regular at bats as the designated hitter this season for the Cubs. Excellent hitting catcher. Nearly a 900 OPS a season ago. This is one of those lineups that is pretty relentless for the Cubs, up and down it.
Especially with a designated hitter.
I think this National League Central Division, Rock, is going to be among the most competitive in all of baseball. You could see now with the expanded playoffs, now 8 teams in the National League will make the playoffs, 16 total. You could see potentially 4 teams making the playoffs out of the Central Division. The top 2 teams are guaranteed a trip to the postseason.
And the next 2 best records.
I think the Reds are much improved.
I like it. I like the expanded playoffs given the short season.
Do you like it moving forward?
No.
No.
I mean,
just this year.
162 I think is enough to determine who's going to make the playoffs. I think that's a few too many.
And the 60-game schedule, there'll be a lot more teams involved. 6 more this year. 1-2 the count. chopper foul. That was big news that dropped yesterday officially. The expanded 2020 MLB postseason scenario goes from 10 to 16 teams, so every team will be in play in the first round. That'll be a best of 3. We'll call those the wild card series, and then you go into the division series and then on into the LCS. 1-2 the count on Contreras. Look out. One note about the first round, by the way, the top seed will host all 3 games if it goes that far. They won't travel in those games.
No travel, go quick. Yeah, I like it.
Brewers are hoping to make it a 3rd consecutive season in the postseason. That's never been done in franchise history. 2-2 the count. Schwarber the runner at first. Cubs are putting up some long at-bats early against Woodruff.
Yeah, they're making him work. You know, the most Woodruff has thrown pitch count wise 80. Of course, the Brewers have 11 pitchers in their bullpen. So do the Cubs.
Yeah, carrying 30 on the roster, and the Brewers have 16 pitchers on their roster, the 5 starters and the 11 relievers. There's a called strike 3. Contreras watches one go by. Brandon Woodruff picks up his first strikeout of the season. Well, gives us a chance to look at our Taco Bell take. Brandon Woodruff allowed a slugging percentage against of just .293 on his fastball last year. That is the best in the major leagues. League average is .473.
Yeah, and that's something.
Slugging percentage we're talking.
And a large majority of his strikeouts came on the fastball, the high fastball. 72% of them, of his strikeouts.
One away. Here is Jason Hayward now. On the ground. Got a chance here. A flip to Arcia. Fires one over to first, and back-to-back innings with a double play. And Woodruff able to clean up some of those long at-bats. 2 scoreless in the books at Wrigley Field. It's opening day. Wrigley Field on this opening day, and Omar Narvaez ready to get his first at-bat as a Brewer, and Rocky brings a big bat to the party, a left-handed hitter. And only Gary Sanchez with more home runs against right-handed pitchers among catchers last year in the big leagues.
Yeah, he's always been considered a good offensive catcher. He can hit, no doubt about that. You figure he's not going to get too many, if any, at-bats against left-handed pitching with Manny Pena on the roster. So that's a good mix. You know, you got Manny, you got Narvaez. That's a good 1-2 punch.
And the splits would tell you that that platoon will be a pretty strict left-right platoon, as Narvaez pops that one foul and out of play. Omar essentially replacing Yasmani Grandal. That's a lot of production to replace, and playing half of his games at Miller Park. The Brewers are hoping Narvaez takes advantage of the short porch in right. Much improved behind the plate as well, we are told, from the pitchers who have been throwing to him.
Yeah, but from what we saw in the inter-squad games, a pretty good pitch by Hendricks. And 2 seamer catches the inside corner. He's improved quite a bit. Charlie Green, the Brewers catching instructor, worked with him. He worked with Grandal last year. That comeback sinker, you can't give up on it. Might have been a little bit in off the plate, but too close to take.
It's always impressive to watch Kyle Hendricks move the baseball. Finger pressure. He's able to really make it dance. Picks up another strikeout, his 4th. Now Lorenzo Cain. This is an unusual spot for Cain to hit. He has not hit 8th in a lineup since the 2014 season, September of 2014, when he was a member of the Kansas City Royals. Been the Brewers' leadoff hitter predominantly the first 2 seasons as a Brewer. He's in year 3 of a 5-year deal. And just dropping him down in the lineup kind of resets it. If you look at the lineup as a second leadoff man, he's hitting 8th. You got Arcia, and then back to the top with Sogard.
I wonder if that's going to be the case. You know, if you have a left-handed starter, you're going to have Jed Jerko in the lineup over at third base. Over Sogard, you'd like to have a couple of contact hitters in the top of your order, Sogard, Yelich. We'll see. Craig Counsell not committing on anything long-term.
No real set lineup. You know, Yelich, if he's in there, is going to hit second. Here is going to hit third. And Braun most likely will hit fifth every day. But everybody else will be moving around. A lot of versatile pieces for the Brewers. Kane out in front. Down he goes. Hendricks with strikeout number 5. That's 3 in a row for Hendricks. He has struck out 5 of his last 6 batters. 2 outs in the third now. Hey fans, if you can't catch us on television, you can stream us live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. It's presented by T-Mobile. Download the app, take Fox Sports Wisconsin and Brewers baseball with you wherever you go. 2 quick outs for Hendricks. Here is Arcia.
Change up. He throws a lot of them. It's a good pitch. He keeps it down. Down and away to a right-handed batter. You know, good luck with that. That's a tough pitch to hit.
Arcia into center field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Now the first hit of the season for the Brewers comes from their 9-hole hitter, Orlando Arcia, with a single with 2 away.
He's really been swinging the bat well. He started in Phoenix. And then at summer camp, he's made a couple of adjustments in his swing. And it has paid off.
What's Rizzo got in mind here? Okay.
Little sanitizer.
It's a good idea.
You're going to be that close to me. You got to get some sanitizer on. You want some too?
Now it's like a yawn.
See, we got plexiglass between us.
See, when it's like when somebody yawns, you know, makes you want to go to the sanitizer also. As Sogard takes the ball high. That was a heavy application you just gave me.
I struggle with amounts. It is. It's like
it's just a little dab will do you.
I don't know my own strength.
I don't know what to do with my hands now.
Half the bottle went. It's okay.
Does feel nice though. Sogard sends one to right field. Hey, we're going back with room, and he'll put it away to end the inning. We're all safe, and we're playing baseball, and that's all that matters. Scoreless at Wrigley.
Absolute bulldog, steps up in the biggest situations, even to higher heights than you can imagine.
I love when he goes out and pitch. You know, he's just got that bulldog mentality. Wants to go out there and get it done.
Other teams don't look forward to facing him. We're incredibly confident when he's on the mound, and I think he'll just continue to build on his success in that level.
Including his own team in inter-squad. He dominated the Brewer hitters in the inter-squad games, 2 of them, 9 innings. 9 in the 3rd innings, 1 earned run, 11 punch outs. And anytime you have a guy that's going to be throwing predominantly fastballs, you know he has a lot of confidence in his arm.
Now Woodruff back out there for his 3rd inning. Dots the edge against Victor Caratini to start his 3rd. That description of a bulldog, that's always been, you know, a term of affinity for the horse starter, the guy that goes out and takes the ball. Remember Oral Hershiser's actual nickname was the bulldog. There's a slow roller with Sogard on it, and he'll make the play as Caratini is retired.
Yep, a grinder. You know, a guy that's going to do what it takes to win a game, do anything, you know, to get outs.
Woodruff was an actual bulldog in college. He was a 2-way player at Mississippi State. He's a very accomplished hitter. He's disappointed that pitchers aren't allowed to hit now and may not be allowed to hit. He's an excellent hitter.
He's much safer in the dugout. All the injuries to the Brewers pitching staff over the years.
Much more valuable on the mound as well.
At the plate, on the bases.
This is Nico Hoerner on an opening day roster for the first time. The young infielder getting the start at second base. He was just drafted in 18. Saw a little time last year, but here he is on the opening day roster. Little jam shot roller, going to be a tough play. That's going to sneak through. So Hoerner with a base hit. And the Cubs have a runner on. They've had a man on in each of the first 3 innings. Woodruff has wiped out those base runners with double plays to end the first 2.
Yeah, quick hands for Horner. I mean, that 2-seamer boring in on his hands. He's able to pull in the hands and get enough of it. I mean, that's not even a strike. I mean, that's a pretty good piece of hitting by Horner. That high fastball. You don't see too many hits on that high fastball from Woody.
Runner at first and the 9th place hitter, the switch hitter, Ian Happ. Cubs will have a couple of platoons going this year. Happ's involved in one of those. Happ and Albert Almora. Got another platoon going at second base. The Cubs have Jason Kipnis, the former Indian, on their roster. He and Nico Horner will share duties over there.
Another veteran left-handed hitter that David Ross can get to late in the game. He's always been a hitter, Jason Kipnis.
Happened 58 games last year. Did some damage, just didn't do enough damage to be an everyday player, but functioning in a platoon. Has time in the infield as well as a shortstop. There's a fastball that missed. I feel like Woodruff's a little frustrated about the edges he's not getting right now from Jeff Nelson, the crew chief and the home plate umpire.
Yeah, that looked like a pretty good pitch.
2 balls, no strikes. Cubs have a runner at first. Play in the 3rd inning. At the top of the order coming up next, and Chris Bryant. Needless to say, and this applies to every big league lineup, but especially the Cubs lineup, you have to control the bottom of the batting order. Those are the bats you want to avoid. Bryant and Rizzo with men on base. See if Woodruff can come all the way back. That one catches the inside edge. Woodruff's got that comeback sinker as well. His is just with a little more hair on it than Kyle Hendricks.
But it is amazing, as hard as he throws it, he still gets the movement.
Big pitch right here early for Woodruff with Bryant waiting. The 3-1, and Happ sends one deep. That is way back. Kane on the run. We'll watch it fly. 2-run home run. The benefit of having Chris Bryant behind you, as Ian Happ hits the first home run of the year for the Chicago Cubs. And the Cubs out to a 2-0 lead here in the 3rd.
No, again, he didn't want to walk him. Woody didn't want to walk him, make him hit. He gave him a fastball down the middle, and Happ smokes it out of Wrigley Field to center field. There you see it. It was supposed to be middle away, ended up middle in. Good extension on a 3-1 pitch. Cubs with a lead.
And now Bryant. Ian Happ opens up the scoring on this opening day.
8-9 hitters get it done.
Yeah, Horner had the single with 1 out, then the homer, and now Woodruff dealing with Bryant. No doubt about this one.
Yeah, Lorenzo giving it a token look back, and that's it. That was way back in center.
Two balls, no strikes on Bryant. Blew it right by him at 98 miles an hour. Happ was on fire this spring. Then the shutdown happened, and he came back in summer camp, swung the bat well, and has carried it over.
He's always had a pretty good understanding of his strike zone. Walks a lot. He does strike out a lot. That big on-base percentage throughout his career is why he's a leadoff hitter. That and the fact that I imagine David Ross would be just fine with a leadoff homer every now and again.
2-2 on Bryant. And he doesn't bite on the slider.
Spend so much time worrying about the top of this order, and the 8 and 9 hitters get you.
Well, Happ is a switch hitter as well, but Cubs like him from the left side, thus the left-right platoon with Albert Almora. Bryant spoils another one. We'll see what Woodruff has in mind here. 3-2. Cubs with a 2-0 lead on the Ian Happ 2-run homer. And the payoff beats him up. Boy, Bryant has seen a lot of pitches today. He had a 10-pitch at bat in the first inning to start the game offensively for Chicago.
Hasn't been too many, one-pitch at bats for this Cubs team. And they've been aggressive with the fastball, but found a lot off.
This will be the 18th pitch he has seen in his first 2 at-bats. A hot one on the ground, but right to Sogard. And there is the second out. Well, opening day starters for the Milwaukee Brewers. We take you back to Giovanni Gallardo, the last homegrown opening day starter, 2014. You had Kyle Loesch, Willie Peralta, and 16, Junior Guerra. That was a surprise. He had such a great year and a resurrection of a career. Chase Anderson, Yoli Chassin last year. And Brandon Woodruff gets the nod. And if you ask Craig Counsell, he would hope that Brandon Woodruff would lock down this opening day nod for many, many years to come.
Another 10 years, you're thinking?
Sure.
Yeah, I agree.
2 gone. Here's Rizzo. Woodruff gets ahead of him. Brewers have had 7 different opening day starters the last 7 seasons. Gallardo had a nice little run going at one point as a regular opening day starter. Brandon, at 27 years of age, just entering the prime of his career. Rizzo looks at strike 2.
Giovanni had a bunch. Ben Sheets had a bunch in a row.
Rizzo choking up with 2 strikes. Brewers have long searched for that bona fide ace. They've had some guys who have taken a peek into the elite status and been all-stars like Sheets and like Gallardo. Well, Brandon Woodruff has the kind of stuff where you could certainly see his name in the Cy Young conversation at some point if he keeps going. Ooh, Rizzo's drilled. He stands right on top of the plate, and he paid for it that time.
Yeah, that's going to hurt. Yeah, you could hear that one.
That was a hot one in there, too. Woodruff not giving in on the inside, and Rizzo, who literally leans out directly over home plate. So it makes him such an intimidating hitter. There's very few windows on the inside corner.
You miss inside, that's what happens. I mean, you hit him, you miss that over the plate, he knocks it out of the ballpark. Tough to work him inside, but that's where you have to work him.
It looks like he's all right. He's able to take the test with no flinching. Able to clutch his hand, but man, that's got to be painful.
You're talking upper 90s. Kind of a glancing blow, still going to hurt. It's those ones that hit and go straight down. Those are the ones you worry about. It's easy for me to say.
All right, so Rizzo is aboard. Woodruff hits him with a 2-strike pitch. Third base runner of the inning against Woodruff, and now it's going to be Javi Baez, who bounced into a double play to end the first inning.
I tell you, Javi Baez is way off home plate. He was not that far off a home plate up until this year. These two at bats.
Already pitch number 53 for Woodruff. Baez doesn't bite. Two-run homer by Happ. After the single by Horner, Cubs get production from the bottom of their lineup. Brewers will have Yelich, Hira, and Smoke due up in the fourth. Hendricks is on top of his game early. There's a bouncing ball. Nice easy hop for Arcia, and that will retire the side. But the Cubs strike first. Ian Happ delivers a 2-run blast. Now Christian Yelich ready to lead the way as we head to the fourth inning. 2-0 Chicago. Christian Yelich ready to lead off for Milwaukee. And our Powerball home run leaderboard. Yelich led the ball club last year with 44. And that very high average distance over 406 feet. Yelich also won a batting title, hit .329. And he'll start it against Hendricks. Yelich, among major league hitters last year, finished second only to Trout in on-base percentage. He led the big leagues in slugging percentage and OPS last year. He finished with an 1100 OPS a season ago. And he finished sixth in the majors in homers with those 44.
Two pretty good seasons, wouldn't you say?
Incredible run. An MVP 2 years ago, runner-up last year.
Amazing.
If he doesn't fracture his knee in early September, he might have back-to-back MVP awards.
Yeah, I mean, just an incredible talent, and certainly a guy that you want to give a long-term deal to. A self-motivator. He has a lot of pride in himself. He's going to play every day.
Well, if you look at the numbers, and ESPN.com ran these numbers in an interesting story about Yelich, statistically declaring Yelich a better player than Mike Trout, which is saying a lot if you look across the board.
Face of the game.
Two great talents, no matter how you look at it. And Yelich out in front of an off-speed little changeup from Hendricks. Well, the last 2 years as a Brewer, back-to-back batting titles.
Those 97 RBIs were in 5 months. Didn't play much in September.
80 homers as a Brewer in 2 seasons. Well, Hendricks comes back and strikes out Yelich.
Back-to-back changeups. He was down in the count to Christian. 3-1. Back-to-back changeups to get him on strikes. That is an equalizer, that pitch. And really with the same movement as his fastball. That's what makes it so difficult.
It's the first time all day that Hendricks had gotten into a 3-ball count. And then he delivers back-to-back change. And Yelich is strikeout victim number 6.
Well, you're sitting there, you're Christian Yelich, you got a 3-1 count, and you're thinking, bring on the fastball. Drops the changeup on him. He's way out in front. Then he gives him another one.
And he starts here with a changeup as well. Hendricks not typically a big strikeout pitcher, but his strikeouts tonight, all but one, have come on off-speed pitches.
Yeah, 150 strikeouts last year in 177 innings. I bet a lot of them coming on that changeup.
Well, you know he's going to be around the strike zone, and that's why he can have some very quick outings. He made 30 starts last year. He walked 32 batters the whole season.
Yeah, well, before this inning started at 33 pitches, 25 strikes. It's good for your defense as well.
2-2 the count on Hira. And he got him. Went back to the change, and it's another strikeout. Second time Hira's gone down. Number 7 for Hendricks, and he's retired the first 2 here in the 4th inning.
Man, we don't have to tell you what the pitch is. Change up. And you can see it going down and in on Keston as it gets to home plate. Way out in front of it.
Two-men are out. Here is Smoke. Big curveball lands for a strike. It's an interesting grip, isn't it, for Justin Smoke? Kind of like a golfer. It's an overlap grip. I'm not sure I've ever seen that with a baseball player before, but he wraps that pinky around the index finger of his other hand as he pulls that one foul.
Yeah. Everybody's different, but you do see some unusual grips, some unusual stances. 3 straight curveballs from Hendricks.
0-2 pitch, and the comeback sinker got him. Just carving him up right now, striking out the side. Kyle Hendricks, that's 8 punch outs for him. The second K on a fastball, and it's 2-0 Cubs.
Standing fan during every broadcast this season. Today we celebrate Mike Van Handel out in Mequon. I'm sorry, Mike. Mike Van Handel, a Brewers season seat holder since 1975. Thank you, Mike, for nearly 5 decades of passion and support. That will be Mike Van Handel.
You know, all his buddies are going to call him Van Handel now, which is okay.
Yeah, maybe I should look at these a little closer before the game.
We had a meeting. Schwarber on the first pitch, little slow roller, and Woodruff over to first. Needed that. Cubs have been fouling off a lot of pitches thus far. Woodruff with 16 foul balls given up to the Cubs, and interesting that 10 of those have come with 2 strikes.
There hasn't been a lot of hard contact except for Ian Happ, the home run.
Could use a quick inning here. Wilson Contreras, 2-run homer by Happ, came with 1 out last inning. 2 double plays to end the first 2 innings for Woodruff. Has done a good bit to minimize some of the damage, and what looked like some long innings were potentially in the making. Right now the Brewers are going to have to solve the riddle of Kyle Hendricks, who is absolutely carving up the Brewer lineup through the first 4 innings. Just struck out the side. His last 6 outs are strikeouts. 6 of the last 7 outs, I should say, are strikeouts.
Yeah, not messing around too much either. Not too many pitches out of the strike zone. Going right at him.
Ball and a strike on Contreras. That one's in there. 1-2 the count goes. Narvaez setting up inside. Ooh, Woodruff hit the spot. Contreras didn't bite. They call him the Big Woo, Brandon Woodruff. 2-2 the count. Here he comes, and can't get him to bite on the slider.
Yeah.
Tugged that one a little bit. Now the count goes full.
Now, if you're Contreras, what are you looking for, right? Fastball. It's his best pitch.
Woodruff with just the 1 strikeout thus far. That was against Contreras back in the 2nd inning.
He took a fastball right down the middle.
And he got him that time. Another fastball, power sinker. Contreras is out. Second K for Woodruff in the second out of this fourth inning.
Yeah, got him to chase ball 4. Yeah, two-seamer going down. And Contreras chased it.
So you get a free swinger in a full count, almost itching to swing the bat, no matter what. It's a very patient hitting Cubs team, and with the exception of a couple of spots in their lineup. Now it's Hayward with 2 outs.
Look at the bunt, trying to beat the shift. That's something typically you think about with 2 strikes, nobody on. Like to try and gap one, get into second base.
Arcia is the lone infielder on the left side, 3 on the right side, and fastball misses inside. Well, if you're lacking a little adrenaline with the big crowd and what you're used to as a big league player, you get a 98-mile-an-hour fastball across the knuckles. That'll certainly get it going a little bit. Hayward late, fouls it away.
Going to have to adjust. I mean, all these players are going to have to adjust to nobody in the stands. Plenty of fans out there, just not in the stadium.
Yeah, like you said at the outset, these players know the ratings are going to be massive. And they know these games are being viewed in huge numbers right now. But it is a different feel to it.
Still a lot of Brewers fans out there just can't come to the ballpark.
Those fans are across the street with the rooftop seats above Sheffield, and
shouldn't they be a little bit more spread out? I mean, they have a minimum, a little number of people out there. Shouldn't be they kind of spread out a little bit?
Maybe it's one family. I don't know.
Isn't that the idea, to not sell too many seats? You don't want them clumped all together.
It's the whole point. It's the reason we're in this position.
I mean, I'm no expert, but
speaking of experts, did you have a look at Dr. Fauci's ceremonial first pitch yesterday?
I felt bad for him.
See, I'm just the opposite. I don't want a man of his stature to have a good arm and be able to throw one across the plate.
But he was a player at one time.
So, yeah, he's a basketball player. Ooh, that one just missed.
I would think if I was given an opportunity to throw a first pitch, I'd practice a little bit.
Yeah.
It didn't look like that. Looked like his first throw in about 30 years.
And he's been busy.
Yeah,
he's been busy.
Been,
so
yeah.
I want my doctor not to be able to throw one over the plate.
Right,
I feel better about that.
If he's throwing too well, you're wondering what he's doing. He should be, doing his job, right?
There's a called strike 3. Woodruff strikes him out. Went with a change. Good inning there for Brandon Woodruff. His best thus far. Couple of strikeouts. A 1-2-3 4th. We go to the 5th. Sophia Menard has made the trip down to Wrigley Field, Chicago. We're going old school phone connection here. How are things at Wrigley? Give us a sense of the vibe there.
You know, it's really quiet. This is definitely the most unusual Wrigley Field environment I think that any of us could have ever experienced. You do hear the crowd from the rooftops a little bit, and as Ryan Braun comes up here, he was booed during the introductions. You don't hear it as much during the at-bats, but even Ryan joked. He said it wouldn't be normal if I wasn't booed at Wrigley.
Putting him right at home. He's had such great success at Wrigley Field. I know you were kind of out and about in Wrigleyville before the game. What's the scene like outside Wrigley Field currently?
It was very quiet as well. Gallagher Way, outside of the marquee was shut down. There were a lot of fans walking around in Cubs gear, taking pictures outside of the marquee. The bars weren't really full at that point, but it was definitely a very different Wrigleyville environment.
Now, where are you sitting, Sophia? Where are they allowing you to position yourself for this game at Wrigley Field? Are you in the press box?
I'm actually sitting in a booth next to our friends from Cubs Radio. I'm looking at Ron Coomer and Pat Hughes right now. I did see Len Casper and JD earlier, but you guys will be pleased next time you come back to Wrigley Field. The press box has been renovated.
Whoa.
So that's a big deal.
Wow, that is a big deal. Actually had a spider come down here at our booth at Miller Park. It made me feel like I was at Wrigley Field.
That's the renovation. They moved the spider.
All the spiders came 90 minutes north. All right, well, Sophia's going to be there in case there's any news, and she'll have post-game story as well. And she'll be back with us here at Miller Park on Sunday. Avi Garcia with one away after the ground out by Braun. Brewers are going to have to try to find some answers here as Bryant winds it up and gets Garcia 2 up, 2 down, and Hendricks just keeps rolling here, partner. He's only allowed one base runner. That was an Arcia single with 2 outs in the 3rd inning.
And he's doing it quickly. I mean, not too many pitches out of the strike zone for Schwarber so far. I should say Hendricks. I mean, he has been very efficient. He's been keeping the Brewers off balance with a lot of strikes. Mixing it up, mixing in the curveball. But it's been basically fastball changeup.
He's only pitched from the stretch once tonight to one batter after the single by Arcia. 2 down for Narvaez, and a first pitch curveball strike. Hendricks has 8 strikeouts. His career high is 12. Did that twice in 2016. He's never had double-digit strikeout performance against the Brewers in his career. He's only thrown 2 pitches out of the stretch. That's going to be goal number 1 here, is to try to get somebody on and at least change up the rhythm of Kyle Hendricks, who's got Narvaez 0-2. Narvaez ready for a 1-2. Shift was on for him. And Horner makes a play to end the inning. 3 ground ball outs for Hendricks. He's pitching a gem, a 1-hit shutout through 5. 2-0 Cubs. From Wrigley Field, Chicago, on this opening day, July 24th opening day. After 10+ months without the game, it's finally returned. One mistake from Brandon Woodruff cost him a 2-run homer. Ian Happ popped a 2-run home run in the 3rd. Happ is due up 3rd here in the 5th inning. It'll be Caratini, Horner, and Happ. 2-0 Cubs. Hendricks has been efficient. 56 pitches through his first 5 innings. The next one for Woodruff here in the 5th will be number 70. Won't see Woodruff go too far past 90. Now, if he gets rolling and stays in the windup, you could see him stretch to the 100 pitch limit, but it's all about the stress pitches he throws. He is coming off a 3-up, 3-down inning with a couple of Ks.
And the Cubs aren't making him work, and it worked pretty hard as well.
Brewers do have activity in their bullpen as Caratini bounces one fair down into the right field corner. It goes. Caratini on his way to second with a double. Or a tough break for Woodruff.
Well, he started him up with a changeup, gave him another one. He had him out in front, but he's able to keep it fair. Just out of the reach of smoke down in the corner, and an easy double for Caratini. So bottom of the Cubs order, getting it done again.
Now 2 hits from the 8 and 9 spots. Now Caratini, the 7th place hitter, with a double. Well, and you can tell Smoke trying to cover that hole a little bit between first and second. That one gets down the line. Now it's Horner, and that one's fouled away.
It's only the 4th hit for the Cubs. It's not like they're hitting the ball all that hard. The only mistake Woody's really made is that 3-1 fastball to Happ. Other than that, he's been good. He's been working hard, but has been able to get the job done.
Council has his bullpen active. No balls and a strike. Nico Horner, and that one misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Alex Claudio has joined Bobby Wall in the Milwaukee bullpen. This is the first time in this game there's been a runner in scoring position.
Claudio might be getting ready for Rizzo. Remember, relievers have to face a minimum of 3 hitters unless they end an inning.
Setting sun shining on Woodruff's face. Horner played his college ball at Stanford. Fast rise to the big leagues. Very fast runner is Horner. 2 balls and a strike. On the ground, that keeps the runner pinned. Arcia will make the play for the out. So Caratini remains at second base. Horner on the ground out, and there's the first out of the inning.
Yeah, Ben Caratini has to stay put.
StatCast powered by Google Cloud. The home run of Ian Happ, 108+ miles an hour, and a no-doubter into the shrubbery above the center field fence. First homer of the season for the Cubs comes from Ian Happ.
You see that home run Aaron Judge hit yesterday?
Ooh.
Off of Scherzer.
Unbelievable. Wow. 456 feet, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a 5-inning victory for Garrett Cole and the Yankees yesterday. As if 2020 wasn't bad enough, we can't even get the first game of the season.
Called by rain, yeah.
There's the Brewers pen with the lefty Claudio. Bobby Wall, the right-hander, under the watchful eye of Steve Carsey. The home run by Happ requires some context as well. Got into a 3-1 count. He had Chris Bryant due up next. There was already a runner at first base. And Woodruff, not wanting to walk Happ and deal with Bryant, challenged him, and Happ made him pay.
Yep,
These hitters know that too.
Yeah, he made a mistake. I mean, he was supposed to go away with it. You could see Narvaez reaching to the inside corner and then never got to him.
2 balls and a strike to count on Happ. And a little changeup missed. Boy, these are close pitches. Same count as his home run ball in the 3rd. Let's see what Woodruff does now. He's got a runner at second in Caratini. Does not run well. Ooh, he went back to it.
Yep, change up, good pitch.
Man, is that a good pitch to have in your arsenal? Huh?
Yeah, 3-1. I mean, really, it doesn't get any better than that. Sitting fastball once again, thinks he's getting one and just pulls a string on it. And now he doesn't know what he's going to get on the full count. That makes the fastball more effective.
3-2. He got him. He went back to the change and a strikeout for Woodruff. Strikeout number 4. 3 of those 4 Ks have come in the last 4 outs.
3-1 changeup, 3-2 changeup. That's pitching.
Yeah, just disappears, huh? He's got great stuff.
Yep.
Got off to a slow start last year and then got it locked in to the point where he made an all-star team, first time all-star a season ago, and then got hurt. An oblique injury shut him down. Only 22 starts in the regular season, but he was able to come back, pitch in the wild card game. He started that game.
Always keeps you in the game.
A leadoff double, now 2 outs with Bryant at the plate. Bryant is 0 for 2. First time he's at leadoff in a regular season game since the 2018 season. Typically hits second in the Cubs lineup. Forever searching for a leadoff hitter. And as soon as David Ross takes over, he found it in Chris Bryant. The 1-1. Nice slider. Tight one. 1-2 the count.
Another pitch that he has in his arsenal. You see the dot going straight down. Good pitch.
Woodruff with 4 Ks. Got Bryant in a hole. 1-2. Runner at second is Caratini. And the 1-2 is in there. A called strike 3. Bryant is rung up. Back-to-back Ks for Woodruff. Might be the last we see of him tonight. We'll see. Finishes with a bang if so. Brewers players and Brewers Community Foundation partner every season in an effort to support our community. Nearly 100% of the players provide financial support for nonprofits throughout greater Milwaukee. Brewers Community Foundation thanks the players and their generosity and dedication to supporting community initiatives. Opening day, Wrigley Field, Chicago Brewers Cubs. Game 1 of 60 on the schedule this year. Lorenzo Cain leads off, sends one deep into left center, but not deep enough. Run down by Happ. 1 pitch, 1 out. And Hendricks continues to be a handful for the Brewer hitters.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Just about everything he's throwing is either being offered at or in for a strike.
That'll bring up Arcia, who has the lone hit against Hendricks. It was a single back in the 3rd inning. Brewers have had 15 swings and misses through the first 5 innings. And now Arcia on the first pitch. He's got another hit. Orlando's up there hacking.
Yeah, first pitch fastball's first time up. First pitch curveball this time.
2 for 2 is Orlando Arcia. Now 3rd time through the batting order. Let's see if the Brewers can get something going here.
Make some adjustments. Hanging curveball. And Orlando stays right on it. A little bit off the end, but he's 2 for 2. Picking up right where he left off in spring and in summer camp.
Orlando hit a home run Wednesday against the White Sox in the exhibition game. And a couple of hits finally puts Hendricks back in the stretch. He's only thrown 2 pitches from the stretch tonight. Sogard takes a changeup for a strike. Bottom of the order doing most of the damage here tonight.
And both teams.
Cubs have 3 hits from the bottom 3 in their order. And Arcia has 2 hitting 9th for Milwaukee. All the talk about Bryant and Rizzo and Baez and Yelich and Hira and Braun. And it's the bottom of the order disrupting the pitchers at this point as much as they can.
They have plenty of time for them to get going. No time to panic yet.
See if the 3rd time around helps Milwaukee. And Sogard turns on one. Shallow right as Hayward eases over. And there is out number 2. He just missed it on the bat. Two gone now. Back to first goes Arcia, and that'll bring up Yelich. Yelich tonight at the plate, presented by Wendy's. Grounded out back to the mound in the 1st, and then Hendricks struck him out in the 4th. That was on a 3-2 pitch. Got him on a changeup. A man on for Yelich. And on the first pitch, late on it, fouls it away.
Yeah, give Yelich about maybe 3-4 days. That ball's in the seats. He'd like to have that one back.
Well, the changeup, the change of pace makes that 86, 89 mile-an-hour fastball a lot quicker, and you see great hitters like Yelich late on it. Contreras wants to go upstairs.
Man, freezing Arcia just in case he might be thinking about running. Either that or he didn't like the pitch from Contreras.
Yelich hit an opposite field homer Wednesday against the White Sox in the exhibition game. The 0-1. Did he go? Yes, he did. No balls, 2 strikes. Yelich signing that long-term deal with the Brewers. That'll keep him here a decade if all goes well. Here's the 0-2. Didn't bite.
Good take.
It's a good pitch, huh?
Tough to take it. It is. So difficult to lay off that pitch. Coming out of the hand, looks like the fastball, doesn't get there, and just dives out of the strike zone.
I feel like a small percentage of hitters are going to let that one go by.
Right.
That's what makes Yelich elite. Hoping to square one up. Yelich fights that one off. How about the deal Mookie Betts signed with the Dodgers?
12 years, yeah.
12 years.
Almost $400 million.
The highest paid player in the majors. I think he outdid Mike Trout's deal by $5 million. Makes Yelich's deal look like a bargain. For $250 million when it's all said and done.
Yeah, Mookie helped him win last night.
Well, Yelich made no bones about it. He signed that contract on March 6th, right before it all shut down. But he said this is a place he wanted to be, and if it costs him a little bit of money, so be it. He's making enough money as it is. He's comfortable here. He loves Milwaukee. Testament to the Brewers for being able to get that done. Mark Atanasio and David Stearns, and honestly a testament to all you fans out there. Yelich loves it in Milwaukee.
Right.
And
perfect fit for our city.
No better recruiter
guy
than Christian Yelich now, because as far as the free agent cycle goes, who wouldn't want to play with a guy like this?
Right.
Brewers have had some nice free agent pickups here in the Yelich era. And he got him. Hendricks strikes him out. And the beat goes on for the Cubs opening day starter. That is his 9th strikeout. Brewers have just 2 hits. It's 2-0 Cubs. Nothing Cubs on a 2-run homer by Ian Happ. And Rock, the new pitcher, the Gruber called to the pen. It's going to be Alex Claudio, the first reliever used by the Brewers this year.
Yeah, Alex led the league in all of baseball in appearances last year with 83. Tied our buddy Ken Sanders, who did the same back in 1971. Had a good spring/summer camp. He's got 2 of the first 3 hitters in this inning going to be left-handed. Rizzo, then Baez, and then another lefty, Schwarber.
3 batter minimum for pitchers this season. It'll be interesting to see how managers navigate that. Council likes Claudio against lefties for sure. We know that, but he's comfortable with Claudio against right-handers because of his terrific changeup. That was a fastball at 86.
He did a lot of interesting things with Claudio. I mean, in the inter-squad games, he had him face a number of right-handed batters to get him used to that look.
Rizzo hits a shot foul.
Kind of a contrast in styles here, wouldn't you say?
Take it down a few gears from Woodruff to Claudio.
Yes, sidearm and left-hander, and after Woodruff's rushing it up there at about 98.
Woodruff threw 85 pitches today, 5 innings, giving up the 2 runs, both earned, the 2-run homer by Happ. 85 pitches, 53 of those for strikes. Had a couple of double play balls. Here's an 0-2, and Rizzo down on a knee. sends one out to Kane.
Got a man there. If it stays in the park, he's going to get it.
How about the way he made contact with that ball? Talk about lowering the plane of the bat. Looks like Adrian Beltre right there going down to a knee. First man retired for Alex Claudio.
Trying to level that swing out a little bit.
Kane, a Gold Glover last year. First Gold Glove that he's won, which is a shame. Should have had a few in his pocket by now. Baez shows bunt, takes a strike. This contrast between Woodruff to Claudio, that's all by design. The Brewers have a very interesting bullpen makeup this year. Different pieces, left, right, power, finesse, and there's nobody like Alex Claudio in the big leagues. He's the unicorn.
And you got Prince Suter in the bullpen. Good to have Corey Knebel back out there. And of course you got the big lefty Josh Hader.
Brewers feel very good about their bullpen, especially with Knebel back. He looks good.
We saw some guys that looked pretty good that didn't make the roster. Shelby Miller was throwing well.
Brewers still have Brett Anderson and Eric Lauer on the injured list, not available for opening day. They're both building to that point. Little hesitation by Claudio, and that's going to sneak past Smoke. So Baez will reach. Sounded like he may have broken his bat, but Baez will reach with one out.
Yeah, good pitch. Looked like a change up going away from him. He went right with it though. Pretty good swing by Baez, who's a little bit further off the plate this year. That'll be an E3.
Yeah, he hit that on the barrel too. But it ate Smoke alive. So that opens the inning a bit for the Cubs. Now Schwarber coming up. And a runner at first. With Contreras on deck. Brewers could go back to the bullpen after this batter if they choose. Bobby Wall has started to throw again.
Cubs split their lefties pretty well in this batting order.
Well, this becomes a key hitter and how Counsell will navigate the rest of this inning. Wall, a flamethrower, getting ready in the underground bullpen. Schwarber takes a strike. A flutter ball at 72 miles an hour. Gave up on it. Schwarber's looking in his own dugout as if to say, anybody see that? Was that an actual pitch?
Yeah, 73. He can throw it slower than that.
He can.
Always a threat to run this guy. I mean, this guy steals second base, he'll steal third. One of the better base runners in all of baseball. Very aggressive. Takes a lot of risks.
1 ball, 1 strike. Baez the runner at first, 1 out in the inning. And Schwarber takes strike 2. Tell you what we're seeing tonight, Woodruff to Hendricks to Claudio, it's the beauty of baseball. A lot of ways to fool hitters, get outs. The power of Woodruff, the finesse from the right side of Hendricks. And then Claudio is something different altogether.
They had a deceptive delivery, and baseball just doesn't ever seem to get there. Not one way to get it done.
Schwarber had an infield hit back in the second inning, legged one out. And that one just missed. You can almost see it in the legs, the lower half of Schwarber. Look how he just, I mean, he's done right there.
Yeah, once the knees buckle, you've got him, and that could have been called.
But it's 2-2. Schwarber hit 38 homers last year, drove in 92 runs. Again, out in front.
You know, they have not ruled on that ground ball from Javier Baez. They just said an error.
Just said. E3.
Why would that take so long? I mean, honestly.
I think maybe it just took so long for us to get that information in Milwaukee.
If that's not an error.
Delivered by Pigeon.
I think they drove it up here.
Did he go? Yes, he did. Schwarber, a strikeout victim. Claudio just changing pace on Schwarber, picks up his first strikeout. Now 2 men are out. Gives us a chance to hear a quick word from Aurora. Well, Claudio is out of the game, faced 3 batters, will exit after 2/3 of an inning. And an error behind him. He'll exit with a man at first. Bobby Wall is coming in. 2 outs in the 6th inning. Cubs have a 2-0 lead.
Play turned by the Brewers at Miller Park during the 2020 season. Orbis Corporation will make a $150 donation to the Brewers Community Foundation in support of community initiatives. Learn more at brewers.com/BCF.
Well, right into the fire here. Bobby Wall, first time he's been on a big league opening day roster. He tore the ACL in his right knee last year in spring training. He was lighting up the Cactus League at the time. Brewers got him in a trade with the Mets.
Yeah, he can bring it. I mean, he's got a big arm and well suited for a spot like this. You got Hayward on deck. Hopefully the inning ends here.
First ball swinging right to Sogard. He'll go the easy way. And how about that? Bobby Wall's Brewers debut. 1 pitch. He gets the final out of the 6th inning. We go to the 7th. Brewers are down 2-0. The story of the game. Big Woo, Brandon Woodruff, his first opening day start, goes 5 innings. Had a tough time getting through the Cubs lineup with a lot of foul balls. Minimized the damage though, but Ian Happ got him for a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning. And meanwhile, Kyle Hendricks has been precision tonight. 6 innings, only 2 hits, both by Orlando Arcia. He's only thrown 68 pitches through the first 6 innings. 50 of those have been strikes.
They're using all of his arsenal. You know, curve balls, mainly the lefties.
Hero, the first pitch bounces over to Bryant. There is out number 1.
When you have an arsenal like Hendricks and you have that changeup, curveball, you know, to complement the fastball, you're gonna attack early. You don't want to get the 2 strikes.
So a quick out for Hendricks on the first pitch of the 7th inning.
Isn't it amazing how well Hendricks has been at home? I mean, last year his Wrigley Field earned run average was 2.04. On the road over 5. Go figure. Must like the mound.
Well, Hendricks has pitched in big games. He's been in a Game 7 of a World Series, won an ERA title. He's facing Justin Smoke. Haven't seen a whole lot of curves, but there is one to Smoke, and he sends one to right, and Hayward is under it for the out. The lefties get the curveballs, and Smoke has seen most of Hendricks' curveballs here tonight, and he's got 2 quick ones in the 7th inning.
Designated hitter, Ryan Braun.
2 up, 2 down for Braun now. You hear the boos, Rock?
Yeah, they save him for Ryan at Wrigley for sure.
I don't know if those are piped in boos or if those are boos from the rooftops.
Or maybe some of the Cubs front office.
maybe so. It was a breach of etiquette, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Rooftops. No masks. Just right up in each other's business. And that's why we have no fans. Bouncing ball over to third. This is going to be an easy inning for Hendricks. 1, 2, 3 goes right through the heart of the Brewers order. In order. 5-pitch inning. A reminder that T-Mobile is your ticket to the game now through August 3rd. Customers can score free MLB TV at T-Mobile.com/MLB. It's a beautiful night in Chicago. It's a beautiful night here in Milwaukee, where we are calling this game at Miller Park. And the season debut of Corey Knebel. Welcome back, Corey Knebel, after missing last year after Tommy John surgery. He's back, and Rocky's looked terrific in the summer camp.
Yes, he has. I mean, it's just a matter of getting through summer camp. And, you know, down in Arizona in spring training, he was just wanting to get out of there feeling good and feeling healthy. He's done that. His curveball's been really good. The velocity down a little bit for Corey, you know, 91, 92. But you figure that's going to come the more he throws.
Was an all-star closer for the Brewers, and then suffered the injury. And the shutdown, and this being opening day on July 24th, allowed Knebel to continue with his rehab. He was not going to be on the original opening day lineup had it started in late March and April. He wasn't going to be back until May by all accounts. But all that changed. Hayward sends one into right center field. Avisail Garcia runs it down.
Yeah, showing that good speed. Got a good jump on it. We were talking to him. We mic'd him up, you know, at Miller Park, and he said, "I'm always moving. I'm not going to stand in the same place all the time. I'm always going to be moving." He's kind of a guy that's going to be fidgeting, and you know, that's a good thing, because when you're flat-footed, you don't really get a good jump on a baseball.
The center fielder by trade is Garcia. The Brewers have an excellent defensive outfield, and they can all hit as well. And of course, Yelich, one of the game's great players, now in left field, a new position for him as a Brewer. First pitch curveball from Knebel to Caratini, misses. Ball and no strikes. That one's in there.
There you go. Live game action already. He's got a tick up in velocity. And 94. He's going to be a 97, 98. Won't be too long. That's what that Cub uniform does to you.
No matter if there's a crowd or not, right? Yeah. There's the curve. Caratini out in front of it. Pops it up. Knebel is giving way to Sogard. He was ready, though. Infielders don't like when pitchers hang around that long.
No, pitchers don't like it either.
It's like pitchers have zero skills to catch even the most benign pop-ups. Two quick outs for Knebel.
That's a good curveball, though. See that sharp break on that pitch?
Knebel, at his peak prior to the injury, was humming along 98, 99 miles an hour consistently. And then that significant drop off with the curveball. There's a hook in there for a strike. And he'll get it back. He's just glad he's pain free. He said he had forgotten what it felt like to pitch without that sting in his elbow. There's a drive into center field. Kane going back. Kane at the track will run it down. And a 3-3 down inning. Nice catch by Lorenzo Kane on a deep fly ball from Horner. We head to the 8th, getting late for the Brewers. Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all. Chicago, Illinois on a beautiful night, Friday night, opening night in Major League Baseball. It's 2-0 as we go to the 8th inning. Kyle Hendricks, a 2-hit shutout. Both of the hits courtesy of Orlando Arcia, both singles. Now it's Avi Garcia to start it. Hendricks coming off a 5-pitch 7th inning. He's only thrown 74 pitches at this point, and Rocky's had 3 innings with 8 or fewer pitches.
Yeah, 54 strikes, 73 pitches, 54 strikes. Incredible command.
Brewers will have Garcia, Narvaez, and then Lorenzo Cain at the 2 newcomers. Good inning by Corey Knebel. It's great to see him back on the mound in a Brewer uniform. He and Bobby Wall both coming back from devastating surgeries. Wall got the final out of the 6th on 1 pitch. Knebel retires the side in order in the 7th. Garcia down in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And lays off the change. Avi tonight struck out looking in the 2nd inning and then grounded out in the 5th. Was with the Rays last year. Had 20 homers with Tampa Bay. Had been with the White Sox prior to that. Started with the Tigers. And that's where he earned the nickname Mini Miggy after Miguel Cabrera. Right back to the mound. Hendricks makes the play for out number 1.
And another changeup off the end of the bat. That's pretty good, right? 7th inning, a 5-pitch inning. Only 2 over the minimum, no walks. 2 hits.
And now Omar Narvaez, who is 0 for 2. A strikeout and a ground out. And that one's in there. He's got finishing stuff, does Hendricks, here tonight, unless the Brewers can get some men on base. Making it easy on a first-year manager in this opening game.
We got Craig Kimbrell, their closer, down in the bullpen.
One ball, 1 strike to Narvaez. Big curve. Saves the curveballs for the lefties mostly, but it's a good one.
Hasn't made a mistake with it. He left one up to Orlando Arcia, got a base hit.
2 singles. That's been it. He's only been in the stretch to 3 batters here tonight. Here's a 1-2. Jammed him.
For a total of 11 pitches out of the stretch.
First day manager, I should say, David Ross, after a long career as a player. Sure, there are some nerves flowing with him. Two pitch. All right, now it's 3-2. Even a 3-ball count feels like a small victory the way Hendricks has gone tonight. Only 2 3-ball counts in this game.
Yeah.
Had a 3-ball count against Yelich back in the 4th inning, struck him out. Here's a 3-2.
Goes back to the changeup, one after the other. Key to that changeup is just, don't change the delivery. Same arm action on it. Same release point. Awfully tough to pick up.
The payoff pitch. Narvaez on the ground. They have the shift on.
Come on.
There is out number 2.
And another changeup.
Two up, 2 down in the Brewer 8th. Hendricks is 4 outs away from a shutout. Here's Lorenzo Cain now with 2 away. 0 for 2 tonight is Cain.
Hey, Lorenzo hit went pretty well to center field his last time up. Got under it a bit.
Now the Brewers will have a new pitcher for the bottom of the 8th. JP Fireeisen was getting loose. That would be a great story. Brewers are hoping to put some runs on the board, though, as Cain bounces one to short. Baez with that great arm. No problem. And Hendricks, a 1, 2, 3, 8th inning. 3 more ground ball outs for Hendricks. Bottom of the 8th coming up, 2-0 Chicago.
Going into the top of the 8th inning, the storyline has been all about pitching. Kyle Hendricks doing his job against the Brewers, and of course Brandon Woodruff pitched very well despite giving up a 2-run home run. That's been really the difference of this game so far. So we'll talk about that coming up on Brewers Live postgame presented by Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin. We're also here from Craig Counsell as well. And how about this? JP Fireeisen, Wisconsin's very own, out of River Falls and the pride of UW Stevens Point, is going to make his major league debut here in this game, and still close. Big situation for him, guys.
Is that one of your many colleges you attended, Craig? Stevens Point? I know you covered most of the state schools in the area.
Yeah, I swept through that area pretty good. Actually, River Falls and Stevens Point, but who's counting, really?
It is a monumental occasion here. JP Fireeisen becoming the 10th Wisconsin-born player to appear in a Brewers game, making his major league debut at Wrigley Field and facing Ian Happ to start it. It's got to be a thrill for him. I mean, you can only imagine what's going through his mind, how his heart is ready to jump out of his chest.
Yeah.
Tremendous achievement.
Yeah, Craig Counsell called him into his office and told him, I said, I got some bad news for him. So he figured this kid is thinking he's getting sent down. He says, you're going to have to make your major league debut with no fans in the stands. Kind of turned that one around a little bit, but he was pretty good down in the minor leagues. AAA Wilkes-Barre Scranton last year, 10-4, 249 earned run average, basically fastball slider pitcher.
Last 3 years in AAA, been with the Yankees, and deals a strike. That'll change of pace on Happ. Happ's 2-run homer is still standing right now. That was a 3rd inning 2-run homer of Brandon Woodruff. And the difference in the ball game right now. Cubs have 4 hits. Brewers being shut out on a 2-hitter by Hendricks. Happ late pops it up. And let's see who wants it. Everybody's calling, and it's Sogard who makes the play.
And of course Orlando Arcia thought he should take it. He wants everything.
Number 17, the third baseman, Chris Bryant.
So 1 away. And Fireeisen's first big league out is in the books.
Did you see Sogard give a peek? He saw that Orlando Arcia was not slowing down. He wasn't going to give way. Here he comes. Do you see how far he went? He thought he should have caught that.
You know, he's around on the shift. Arcia is the quarterback of the infield. You usually let the shortstop take all the pop-ups and whatnot, but Sogard is a shortstop as well.
Not when he's playing second base.
He tried to alpha dog him there, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, here's Chris Bryant now. Bryant is 0 for 3 tonight. Been dealing with a bad back. Some question whether he would be able to play tonight or not. It was a scratch from their exhibition game against the White Sox. on Wednesday. Hendricks looks poised to go back out for the ninth. His pitch count is in great shape.
Yep, 88 pitches.
J.P. Feyereisen puts one right by Bryant. First Wisconsin-born player to suit up for the Brewers since Vinny Rottino played for the Brewers in 2008.
Of course, Paul Wagner. Of course, Jimmy Gantner. The most famous of the Wisconsin Brewers.
Craig Counsell was so happy to be able to deliver that news. Sophia spoke to him, and just to be able to tell a Wisconsinite that you're going to play for the Brewers.
That's a pretty good pitch.
The Whitefish Bay native, Craig Counsell.
Bob Wickman was a Wisconsinite.
Damian Miller over in La Crosse. And of course, our own Jerry Augustine. 3-2 pitch. He got him. Feyereisen puts it right by him. Strikes out Bryant. 2 gone in the inning. His first big league strikeout comes to a former MVP. JP had a great year last year. He couldn't quite break through and get the call up from the Yankees, but he did all he could do at Scranton Wilkes-Barre. He pitched exclusively out of the bullpen. Had an ERA of 2.49. His strikeouts per 9 innings was near 14. 13.8 Ks per 9.
Yeah, and won 10 games out of the pen.
He was 10-2 last year with that 2.49 ERA. The walk numbers were high. 4.5 walks per 9 to go with the big strikeout numbers. But the Brewers hope they found something. He shedded a lot of weight during the shutdown and was on the radar of the manager right away just when he showed up. Craig Counsell made mention that J.P. Feyereisen has been working hard during the shutdown. Got leaner.
Well, the guys had to stay in shape. They didn't know when they were coming back, if they were coming back. Everybody had a different story as to how they were able to stay ready.
2-0 the count on Anthony Rizzo. And pulls one down the right field line. That is a home run for Rizzo. Just snuck it inside the foul pole, and the Cubs have a 3-0 lead. Rizzo's first homer of the year.
Hey, you can't make mistakes like that to a guy like Anthony Rizzo. Fastball, pretty straight, and he knocks it out of here on the line. Watch the way he goes down and gets this one. Ends up with that knee down on the ground and a line drive out of here to right on a 2-0 pitch.
Just the ability to keep it fair as well. There's no hook in that ball. It's the pure swing of Rizzo, and now it's 3-0 with Baez coming up. Badger Mutual Insurance run of the game for the Cubs, as they now lead at 3-0. All 3 runs coming on the long ball. 2-run homer by Happ, and now Rizzo with a solo shot. Rizzo, remember, got drilled on the hand in the 3rd inning. It's fortunate that there was no major injury there. Comes back to homer. Baez. Takes a huge hack and fouls it away.
Yeah, he slipped coming out of the batter's box a couple of times tonight because of that big swing. Feyereisen got away with another 2-0 pitch.
Feyereisen now 27 years of age. Started with the Indians organization, then the Yankees. One thing to play for your hometown team, but it takes on a different meaning when you're a Wisconsinite and you get a chance with the Milwaukee Brewers. 3 balls and a strike to count. Brewers trying to get through this 8th. Their last licks in the 9th. It'll start with Arcia, the man with the only 2 hits of the night for the Brew Crew. Good pitch. Broke his bat. Arcia makes the play. Inning is over. JP Feyereisen has made his major league debut. Gives up a homer to Rizzo. And now Hendricks back to the mound to start the 9th. It's 3-0 Cubs.
Give me daps and hugs, so it must be love. And I love the country grub. It feel good to hear people singing welcome back. You know you like that. 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 Yeah, man, how you doing? You good? I know you like that. I know you like that. How long you been back, man? People give me daps and hugs, so it must be love. And I love the country grub. It feel good to hear people singing welcome back. You know you like that.
Opening day 2020, Wrigley Field, Chicago, and Kyle Hendricks has pitched a masterpiece thus far. He's back on the mound to start the 9th, and it's Arcia fouling away the first pitch.
Again, going after first pitch. Why not, right? Seems like the deeper you get into the count with Hendricks tonight, the worse off you are.
Arcia with a single on the second pitch in the 3rd inning, and then had a single on the first pitch in the 6th. Has the only 2 hits of the night for the Brewers. Arcia pulls one through for a base hit. How about that? 3 for 3 is Arcia.
3 for 3, and he's seen 4 pitches.
Well, you saw the defensive change there with Happ now in left. Cubs have made a couple of changes, bringing on Almora. Arcia delivers again. He's got them all tonight.
Well, he did a nice job. Pulled the hands in. You could see it clearly that time and able to barrel it up.
Well, a good start. Brewers down 3-0. Craig Kimbrell, the Cubs closer, getting ready in the bullpen. Top of the order now. 4th time around for Milwaukee. Here is Sogard. Sogard getting this spot to hit leadoff tonight. 3 fly ball outs. He just missed the one in the 6th. Got him a little down on the label. Deep fly ball out. Sogard reaches here. You got Yelich coming up, representing the tying run. Brewers have had a little comeback magic the last 2 years as Sogard rips one foul.
And they've had some success against the Cubs closer.
Well, the matchup you want right now is a Craig Kimbrel-Keston Hiura matchup, if you can get it. Hiura's had a moment last year against Kimbrel. Here's an 0-2. Sogard gets jammed. Slow roller. Out at second. That's all they'll get. So Sogard will reach on the fielder's choice, but Hendricks gets that all-important first out. That's going to bring up Yelich.
Now you're figuring one more base runner, and you might see the end of the day for Kyle Hendricks. I think that's the best thing the Brewers could see right now. Somebody other than him.
Yelich is 0 for 3. Hendricks struck him out the last 2 trips. Shift is on for Yelich as he takes a ball down and in. Cubs have not had a complete game in an opening day start since 1974. Bill Bonham did it. That was a shutout as well. Last time the Brewers were shut out on opening day was the 2015 season. That year was against Kyle Kendrick, not Kyle Hendricks. Trying to avoid all of that in this top of the 9th inning. Hendricks pitch count at 98.
Got to figure out a way to get another man on base.
We got Hiura due next, representing the tying run if Yelich can reach. Well, that changeup is a dandy, and he's had it all night long.
Yep, and it's especially effective in a hitter's count. 3-1, 2-1, 2-0. Use the aggressiveness of the hitter to your advantage.
Here he comes. Yelich spoils it foul.
And because of that changeup, you see a fastball pretty much right down the middle of the plate, and Christian a little bit late.
88 miles an hour right down the middle against Christian Yelich. And no damage.
The changeup really slows the bat down.
Two. Key at bat here. Yelich trying to give the Brewers a chance. Able to lay off that change. So just the third 3-ball count of the night for Hendricks. And the second to Yelich. There's Keston hoping for a shot as the tying run. A lot on this pitch. 3-2. Here it comes. And Yelich pulls one. Rizzo's got it. Out at second. No return throw. And the Brewers are down to their last out.
A risky throw right there by Anthony Rizzo, but nobody really does it better than he does. 3-run lead. Most guys just going to go to first base and get the out there.
Well, David Ross is going to make his first pitching change as a big league manager. With 2 outs in the 9th inning, with Hendricks in complete control and pitching a shutout. Or maybe he's just checking
on him. He's just talking to him. I can't imagine why he would take him out. I mean, the tying run is not at home plate.
Is this for a dramatic effect?
Yeah, perhaps.
Skipper's, is he begging for an ovation?
He hasn't really, yeah, he hasn't really shown his face in the on the field yet, so we figured he'd come out.
He's going to catch some grief over that, I promise. Well, all right. Ross with a dramatic mound visit. Let's see if the Brewers can turn the tables here. So 2 outs in the 9th. Here comes Keston Hiura. Keston homered in the exhibition game against the White Sox Wednesday. One of the 4 home runs hit, has big power to the opposite field. A base hit will do here. On the ground, this should do it. And it is a complete game shutout for Kyle Hendricks. An opening day masterpiece by the Cubs pitcher.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to tip your hat. I mean, that was an impressive performance by Hendricks. And he continues his mastery at Wrigley Field. It's amazing how well he does at home at Wrigley Field and shuts out the Brewers here tonight.
3-hit shutout for Hendricks. And the first for the Cubs on opening day to go the distance since 1974. He struck out 9. 8 of those came in the first 4 innings. So the Brewers drop the opener of this 2020 season. Cubs win tonight. Brewers Live is coming up next. Craig and Augie right after the turn.